OpinionBricks is an app which can be used on any device of interest. Can be downloaded from multiple sources. Perhaps the most convenient way to use OpinionBricks is going to be through the progressive web app version of OpinionBricks, because this version is independent of the underlying operating system which runs on your device. Now, what is OpinionBricks? This can be understood from this picture. Basically, OpinionBricks allows its user to make real money by sharing their opinions or data. More specifically, it's a marketplace designed to connect two types of users, providers and participants. Providers are those that are looking for collecting data or opinions of others for their projects and willing to pay them for that. Participants are those that are willing to share their data or opinions to make real money. A provider creates a project containing a set of tasks, the eligibility conditions, and the reward value in US dollar for each participant. For example, a project can be a survey and its task can be the questions. An eligible participant will search the database for the existing opportunities and apply for any suitable project of interest. If the participant is eligible, he or she can complete the task and make real money once the quality of his or her submission is approved by the provider. OpinionBricks is completely free for participants, and also providers can use it free of charge. OpinionBricks just charges a small platform fee for any monetary transactions made from a provider to a participant. It's a great tool for both industry applications, such as customer experience management, or academic research, such as like survey research or experimental research. Now, how to use OpinionBricks. For this purpose, I'm going to use the progressive web app version of OpinionBricks, which can be found on our website. Or you can simply go to the address web.opinionbricks.com using the browser of your device. The process that I'm going to explain is going to be similar on the native mobile app version of OpinionBricks, which perhaps you downloaded from Google Play or App Store. Okay, so I'm going to click on the web app. And once you click on the web app, this page will show up. This is a progressive web app version of OpinionBricks. So you need to first create an account. I have already created an account, so I'm just going to enter the information corresponding to my account. Okay, here's my account details. So I'm going to log in. So whenever you log in, at any time that you log in, this page will be shown. Or this screen will be shown to you. In this screen, you need to select your role. You can change your role at any time. So whenever you log in, this screen will show up and you can select the role of your interest. At the beginning, I'm just going to select the provider for now, because I'm going to explain the provider role first. Okay, so I selected the provider role. Provider, as I mentioned previously, it's an individual or it's a company that would like to run a project and is willing to pay to eligible participants some amount of rewards in US dollars. When you enter as a provider, you see a screen like this. This screen is going to be all your projects that you have previously created. Obviously, at the beginning, this screen is going to be empty because you have no projects in the system. I have previously created a project, a test project that you can see on the screen. Now I'm going to create a second project. One thing that is important is that when you enter the system for the first time, you need to create your profile account. So basically, you need to provide the name of your company or your name if you are an individual, the picture of your company, or a photo of yourself if you are an individual, some information about the provider or yourself if you are an individual. These pieces of information are going to be helpful for the participants because they have access to these pieces of information when they want to apply for your project, and they can decide whether or not this project belongs to a legitimate provider. You can update this information at any time by clicking on this edit button. Now, going back to your home screen, let's create a project. You can give any name of your interest. So this name, if it's a short name, it's going to be better. I'm going to give a California title. And then you're going to select the start date and end date. So the start date and end dates are basically the time that this project will be available in the system for the participants. Before the start date, participants cannot see this project in the system. And after the end date, it's the same thing. The project will be invisible to the participants. So you can give any time, date of interest. So for example, I'm going to select tomorrow. So this is the project that I want to create. One thing that you need to know is that in the current version of OpinionBricks, we have a memory capacity. So in the current version, we have a 90-day data retention policy. So that means that your project will be automatically deleted, marked to be deleted after 90 days. For this project that I have created, you can see that the date that it will be marked for being deleted is going to be on December 16th. So I created the project. And as you can see here, this project is not yet published. Because there is an edit button on the left side of the project that I just created. So if the project is not yet published, that means that it's going to be invisible to the users or to the participants. So participants cannot yet see this project because it's not yet published. If the project gets published, then you will see a check mark, a green check mark, like the one that is shown in the picture. So now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to actually click on the edit button and then try to provide more information about my project before publishing this project. Okay, once you click on the edit button, there are 11 steps that you need to complete in order to make your project ready for being published. You don't have to do all these steps, but some of them can be very important in terms of visibility of your project for the participants. The first step is going to be choosing a logo. You can choose a nice logo for your project. I'm going to choose this random logo for the sake of presentation. You can change the title of your project if you want. You can provide a description for your project in this section. This is actually a very important step because you not only have to provide a description of your project, you also need to talk about the eligibility conditions of your participants. What type of participant can apply for your project? So here I'm gonna write, this is my project description, and all applicants must be from the US. For example, this is a eligibility conditions that I am looking for. If you click on this eye icon, this actually take you to a screen. In this screen, you can see your project description a little bit better because this is a larger area. And if you have a long project description, it can be shown in this section a little bit better. So I'm going to close it. You can record a video in advance about your project. This can be a nice step. Put it on YouTube and provide the link of that in this section. I previously chose a random YouTube URL. If I click on this, you can actually see your YouTube video in this section. You can watch it if you want. And you can also, in this section, provide some information about how users or participants can possibly contact you. This is actually quite important because you want to make sure that users will trust you, because users are looking for providers that they look legitimate. So it's better to provide some contact information in this section so that they can reach out to you whenever needed. So I'm from OpinionBricks, www.opinionbricks. So you can provide a phone number, email address, or website, whatever that you think is necessary. You can change the start and end date of your project here in this section if you want. Item number 8 is actually the payment, how much money you are willing to pay to each participant after you approve his or her submission as a reward, basically. The minimum value that you can pay is 5 cents, excluding the fees. There are some fees that will be added to this value, but this is the number that a participant can actually expect to receive as a reward. I'm going to put $100. So that means that participants are expected to receive 100 US dollar as a reward, excluding fees. Location of the participants. So I previously mentioned that all the applicants must be from the US. So I'm going to change the country here to US. But I'm not going to specify the state or city because they can be anywhere from the US, inside the US. Item number 10 is actually also important. In this item, you can actually provide a code for your project. So if you want to create a, let's say, a private project, and you want to make sure that only a specific group of people that you know them personally can apply for the project, then you can provide a code for your project. So that basically means that other users in the system, other participants in the system cannot apply for your project because they don't know the code. Only those users that you have previously given your code to them can find your project and can apply for it because they know how to, they know the code in order to enter to the right page for applying to the project. So if you want to create a private project, it's important that you provide a strong code in this section and reach out to your participants and give them this code. When participants are in the system, they can actually, from their end, they can actually search your email address or the title of your project in the system. And in that case, they can see your project and they can actually enter the code and in order to be able to apply for the project. So once you completed all these 10 tasks, you need to save it. And then you can click on this eye icon in order to see your project as a whole. So you can see all these 10 pieces of information that you have provided on this section if you click on the eye icon. Okay, now that we click on the eye icon, we can see the project as a whole. So you see the icon that we added, the description, short title, even the YouTube video. You can play it here if you want. Rest of the components, you can see the location is set to United States and there is actually no code. So this is not a private project. If you want, you can actually give a code and that becomes a private project. One thing that is important to notice is the item number 8, which is basically the amount of money that you would like to pay to a participant. We selected $100, so that means that every single successful applicant will receive $100 from this project. However, in order to make sure that $100 will be received by the applicant, there are some additional fees that needs to be added at the top of it. So the additional fees are calculated here. It's going to be $110.68. This is the total amount of money that this provider needs to pay in order to make sure that $100 of that will be paid to the participant. One thing that is important to notice is that if the provider and participant are both in the United States, these values that are written here are exact. So that means that the provider will pay $110.68 and the participant will receive exactly $100. However, if the provider or participant, they are located in different countries other than the US, then there are some international transfer fees that may be deducted from the share of the participant. So that means that the provider still paid to the system $110.68. However, the participant will not be able to receive exactly $100 because there are some international transfer fees that needs to be deducted from the participant share. So participant will receive less money in that case. But if they are both in the US, they receive he or she receive exactly $100. But anyway, so the total payment is the exact value that the provider will pay under any situation. So let's go back and now let's create some tasks. So in order to create some task, we click on step number 11, and then the screen is going to pop out and will show all the tasks that we have already created. Because we didn't create any tasks yet, we're going to now create one. In this task, I'm going to first provide a number. This is the task number. So I'm going to put them with number 1 because this is the first task that I have created. And then I'm going to copy paste the description of this task from this website, It's just a random task. So this is a multiple choice question. So the question is a multiple choice question. And there are four sort of answers, or so four choices. So that you can set in the system. And then the last choice is going to be this one. So I created the choices, and then I'm going to say that let's select one. Select only one choice. Okay, so that's the question. I use a sort of image. So I came up with one image. If you want, you can insert an image. This is not compulsory, this is optional. You can also provide a YouTube URL. So I'm going to pick this URL here. I'm going to put it here. This is the YouTube URL that I selected. So I was able to now create a task, the first task. If I click on this task, I can actually see it more precisely what my task is. So it has an image, it has a video. You can edit this task whenever you want. Okay, so you can create your next task. So one thing that is important to mention is that in this project, the task will be shown in non-decreasing order of their task number. So if you want to make sure that one task comes before another task, then you need to give a lower number for its task number. And you can change these task numbers whenever you want by clicking on that task and editing the task number. For example, if I click here and put task number 0, okay, whatever it is, so then you see that this task number will appear before task number 1 because this has a smaller task number. So it will appear before that. Okay. And if I want to delete this task, I can just click on it, press the edit button, and then there's a delete icon here. I can delete the task. So I only want one task for this project, which is enough. Now, if you go back to the sort of your main page of editing your project and click on the eye icon, you can actually see that this task is already added to your project, and you see a view of your task here too. So in this page, you can see that the tasks are also added. So you can see a better view of your project. I think this is enough. And now we can actually publish the project. If you don't want to publish your project, you just want to delete it, then you can click on this icon here and you can delete your project if you wish. One thing that is important to mention is that deleting of a project can happen if the project is not yet published. In that case, easy. You just go to the edit screen and choose the trash bin icon. However, if your project is published, you can only delete it if your project has not yet received any applicant. So no applicant has yet applied for your project. Even if you have one application, then you cannot delete your project anymore. In that case, you need to wait for 90 days because our data retention policy at the moment is a 90-day policy, and the system will automatically delete your project after 90 days. And another thing that is important to mention is that after publishing your project, it would be impossible to edit the project. So project is published and it would not be possible to edit the project anymore. Okay, so I published the project. You can see that the project is now published. There is no edit button anymore, but there is a green check mark. Now, if I want to see my project, I can actually click on this edit button, on this green button. If you click on the edit on this green check mark button, you can actually see your project by clicking on this eye icon. So at any time, you can actually click on this eye icon, and you can actually see your project if you want. You can also see that there is an option here to make your project visible or invisible to the participants. So if a project is published and start date and end dates are reasonably selected, and the current time falls between the start and end time, so that means that users on the other end can actually find your project. But let's say you have received enough applications, or for whatever reason, you want to make your project invisible to the new participants. In that case, you can easily click here and make your project invisible. So that means that the project is still in the system, but you are not, but nobody else, no new applicant can apply for the project. So I'm going to click here. I'm just going to make sure that it's visible for now. So if you click on this green check mark one more time, you can see that this trash icon bin is currently active. So that means that you can delete your project if you want. And the reason that you can delete your project is because there is currently no participant in the system, or there is no applicant in the system for your project. So that's why you can actually delete your project if you want. So, okay. So now the main question is that what are these 4 circles and these numbers here? Well, the first circle 0 here shows that there is actually no applicant in the system for your project. And then the number on this sort of line shows that how many of the applicants you have already approved. So that means that you approved the eligibility conditions of one applicant or some applicants, and they are on the way to basically work on the task and make their final submissions. Once they make some submissions to the system, you see that they appear on the second circle. So you see how many people have made submissions. And once they submit their submission, you can go to this circle and choose to accept or reject the submissions. If you accept the submissions, you make the payment, and the applicants will go to the third circle. If you reject it, the applicants will appear on the fourth circle. So at any time during the process, you can reject or accept an applicant for the next step. Okay, now let's exit and come back as a participant this time. So I'm gonna close this, go to the OpinionBricks again. So let's bring it up one more time. In that case, I can now choose my role as a participant. Okay. If you choose your role as a participant, by the way, as I said, any user can enter the system at any time as a participant or as a provider. Here I created with the same username that I had a project. Now the same person is going to enter the system as a participant, and I'm gonna just basically apply for my own project that I just created. So if you go to the system for the first time, you see nothing in this area because you probably have not yet applied for any project. However, previously I created a random project when I was doing the testing, and I followed the step to just make sure that the application is working. So this test project that you see here is basically a project that I previously created, and you see that there was a reward value of 5 cents for this project. So if you click here, you see that there are multiple status for your applications. So whenever you apply for a project for the first time, then it actually goes to this location, which is waiting for the eligibility screening. So that means that it waits for the provider to decide whether or not you're eligible for the project. If the provider agrees that you're eligible, then it goes to this area, which is waiting for participation. So that means that you need to now participate for this project and try to do the tasks. Once you complete the task, it's gonna go to the final screening process, which will be done by the provider. If the provider agrees that your submission has high quality, and then he or she is gonna accept you and make the payment. If he makes a payment, then your project is going to appear in this region, in this area. As you can see here, I have one approved and approved project. So and then the provider has already paid me some money. And if your project gets rejected by any chance, it's going to appear here in this section. Okay. Now, one thing that is important for any providers to do when they enter to the system is to complete their profile. So they can complete their profile here. They can also try to basically connect their bank account through a Stripe, which is a very safe platform, to the OpinionBricks. So if you do not connect your Stripe account, then you will not be able to make any submissions for any projects. In order to basically connect to your Stripe account, all you need to do is to click on this button, and then you will go to the this page, which is the Stripe page. Then you can actually try to enroll to create a Stripe account. So I have already provided some information about how to create a Stripe account, how you can actually do that on our website. So if you click on the help here, the steps are actually written here from 1 to 14. There are 14 steps that you need to take in order to basically connect your Stripe account. If you want to see it on the website, you can actually go here to how it works, and the same steps can be found here in this area. Okay, I already have a Stripe account, so I don't need to basically create a new account. All I need to do is to connect my basically account with my Stripe. So I'm going to put my username and password, and it will be connected. So I'm going to do it now, and then I will show you the results in a minute. So I'm going to write down my username and password. Okay, I was able to successfully connect my Stripe account. If you connect your Stripe account, you will see that that blue button is not there anymore still, and you have a message on your screen that Stripe account is connected. You can also disconnect your Stripe account at any time if you wish. Um, if you disconnect your Stripe account, it will not impact any of your former submissions in the system. So if you have a submission for a particular project and you're waiting to receive some money for it, that will not be impacted. So if a provider makes a payment, it will still go to the Stripe account that you had in the system at the time that you submitted your submission. So this disconnect button only impacts the future submissions. So let's go to the search menu. In this search menu, you can actually check for the existing projects in the database. So all the projects will be shown here. And if you want, you can narrow down your search to a specific provider or to some projects that are not, for example, public, or if you're looking for specific sort of a city or a specific area, and you want to only apply for those things, you can actually provide those keywords in this section, and then that will narrow down the existing opportunities in the system for you. Currently, there is only one project in the system, and that is the project that I just created. It's called California. This project is public because there is no code for it. If there was a code, you could see a lock icon here. So that means that the project is locked. So if you want to narrow down your search, by the way, there's a help button here. You can read it and try to basically use that thing in order to narrow down the number of opportunities that are in the system. Okay, so let me click on this project. This project, these are the information corresponding to this project that I earlier provided in the system. This I here shows the provider information. So there are some information related to provider. So you can read all this information, and if you're happy with that, you can start to apply for it. And if you apply for the project, you can provide some justification about why you are eligible. So you can provide a text here to show why you're eligible for this project. If you like, you can also provide a sort of supporting image as well, and you can also record a YouTube video and include it here. So I'm not going to provide this information at the moment. I'm just going to say that I'm eligible because I'm from the US. That was in the description. So you can provide some supporting image if you wish to provide. And once I provide all this information, I can click the submit button, and now it actually tells you that no further editings will be possible. If you make a sort of make an application, and also it reminds you about this 90-day data retention sort of policy that we have for deleting all the applicants and all the applications and projects in the system. So once you apply the project, you see that this button that previously was available for you to apply is now changed to applied. So that means that you already applied for this particular position or opportunity. Okay, so now and then if you go back to this application sort of page, or this home page, you see that previously I had only the test project. Now I applied for this project, so this is also in my sort of screen. So if you want to know about the status of this particular project, you can choose it here. For example, this project is waiting for your eligibility screening, right? So that means that the provider is it's on the provider hand to decide whether or not you're eligible or you're not eligible to apply for it. Okay, and if you click on this, it also shows this information. The provider has not yet decided about your application, so you need to wait a little bit, and provides the contact information of the provider if you want to contact the provider. So let's go back to the provider side and try to see what has happened on that side. Okay, this time I'm gonna sign in as a provider. Well, once you sign in as a provider, you can see that immediately this yellow bell has been shown here. So that means that either you have a new applicant or you have a new submission. So if you have a new submission or new applicant in the system, this will be actually shown by this yellow bell. So you can see that this number was previously 0 and now it's 1. So that means that you have one applicant that you need to decide about its eligibility. So if I click this, this is the applicant that I had in the system. So this is a photo of the applicant, let's say. If you want to learn about the eligibility conditions that this applicant provided, you can click on this. And this is the application of the applicant. Just said that the name and last name of this applicant is Testes, and this is the location of the applicant. Why this applicant is eligible is because of this. And if you click on this I information, it tells you more about the applicant if he or she has provided some information. In this particular case, I didn't provide any information, so there's nothing here. So if you're happy with this application, you can either accept it or reject it. For the sake of illustration, I'm just gonna reject this application. If you want to reject an application, you have two choices. The first choice is giving an opportunity to the applicant to revise its application and send it back. So that's reapply option. The second option is permanently rejecting an applicant. So that means that the applicant would not be able to apply for this project anymore. So this project is going to be, it will be impossible for him or her to apply for this project if you choose this option. So I'm going to select the second sort of choice because I want to make sure that the applicant can apply for this project. Okay, again. So if I go back now to my home screen, you see that new applicant is changed to 0 and this yellow bell has changed its color. So it's disabled now. But I have one applicant in this rejected circle. If I click on the rejected circle, I can see the application. So that says that this application was received on September 19th, and I rejected this application because it was not, he or she was not eligible. I can provide more information. I can try to provide a feedback to my applicant by clicking on this and say that, okay, you are, for example, eligible to apply, but please provide more info. Okay, more info. That can be feedback that you may want to provide to the applicant. And you can see that this icon of message has appeared here. So that means that I have already provided a message to the applicant. Okay, so let's go back to the participant side again and see what has happened in that section. Okay, I click on the participant, and when I click on the participant, you see that a message has come from the provider. If you click on this sort of menu here and choose the waiting for eligibility screen, you see that there's nothing in this region anymore. And if you look at the rejected application, this application will pop out. Okay. Anyway, so this application is rejected, and you can click on this message here if you want, and to show the feedback provided by the provider. And if you want to apply for this application, again, all you need to do is to click on this application, and then that will take you to the a page that you can actually see your application, and also you can reapply for the same project again. So one thing to mention is that you cannot reapply for a project from this opportunities menu, because you have already applied for that. So if you want to reapply for the same project, you need to basically do it through your home screen. You click on the opportunity, you click on that your application, and then reapply for the same project if the provider has allowed you to reapply for the same project. Okay. So for the sake of time, I'm going to reapply for the same project and then go back to the provider side to see what can we do next. Okay, I reapplied for the same project, and now I'm going to go to the provider side again, and you can see that I have one rejected application, and again I have a new applicant. If I click on the new applicant, you can see that it's basically the same person. So I can now, this time I want to accept this applicant, and if you accept this applicant, it will actually accept the applicant. Okay, we can see that the applicant is now approved. There is no more applicant. So if you go back to the home page, you can see that we previously rejected one application. There is no new application, but the value of 0 on this line is now changed to 1. So that means that we can expect to receive a submission soon. Because we accepted one applicant, and now this applicant has a chance to proceed with the tasks of the project and can make a submission for the tasks of the project. So let's go back to the provider, go back to the participant view to see what has been changed. Okay, so here is the participant side. On the participant side, we can see that we now have a new application. So we had an application previously, which was created before this application, but that one got rejected, and but the new application that we submitted actually got accepted. And if you look at waiting for my participation status, you can see that there is an application that is now pending, and this yellow bell shows that I can actually try to answer the tasks of the project. So if I click on this, you should be able to see the tasks of the project. So if I click here, this is the task of project. This project has only one task. I can see the answer, the question, and watch the video or whatever. And this one here was basically the project description. So if you want to remind yourself about the project description, you can click on this icon. So in order to create an answer to this task, I need to create an empty answer sheet. So if you have multiple tasks here, once you create an answer sheet, you should see multiple boxes for the tasks. So we need to wait until the answer sheet to be created. Because I had only one task, now only one box is created, which is corresponding to this task. So if you had multiple tasks, multiple of these answer sheets would have been created for them. And we need to wait until all of them to be created. Okay, so now I click on the answer sheet here. Again, you can submit an explanation, image, or a YouTube URL, whatever that you like. Here, I'm just going to use this pieces of information. I'm going to say that, for example, my answer is 4. Might be wrong actually in this case, but so this is I chose the option number 4. And I save it. And once you save it, you can see that this one is now ticked and you made it green. If you're happy with your answers, you can now submit your answers. And if you submit your answer, there's no return point. So I'm going to submit my answers. So I'm done. Now, if I click on the waiting for my participation, there's nothing in this area here. But if I look at waiting for final screening, you can see that this is the application that I had and is now waiting for the final screening from the provider side. Final screening means that the provider is going to look at the quality of your solution, is going to accept or reject it. If he accepts, then there would be a payment. So let's go back to the provider. If you go to the provider side, now you can see that we have a new submission. And again, this yellow bill shows us that we have a new submission or new application. In this case, we have a new submission. If we click on this, we can see the applicant. And so this is the sort of applicant. One thing that is important to mention is that there's a yellow, there's a green eye icon here. That basically means that you have a option to check the quality of the submission provided by the applicant for only one time. So if you click on this, you get a message here that you have 90 seconds to make a decision whether or not this applicant did a good job or did a poor job. If he has done a good job, then you can actually proceed with the payment, make the payment, and after that, you will be able to download the data corresponding to this applicant. So let's click on this. I can see that I have 90 seconds to make a decision about this applicant. If it looks good to you, you can go back, or we can wait for this timer to end. So if I go back now, you can see that this green eye icon is now changed to red. So that means that I can no longer check the quality of the submission provided by this applicant, because I previously have observed that thing, and all I need to do is to accept or reject him. If I want to reject him, again, I have two options: reject it permanently or reject it with resubmit option. So for the purpose of this illustration, I'm going to assume that we're going to accept this applicant. So if you want to accept this applicant, now it's the time to make a payment because you're happy with the answer provided. So you can click on this. And now you can see that this is the total amount of money that you need to pay. $100 of that will be delivered to the applicant if both provider and applicant are in the US. So you can provide the card numbers here. And once you provide the card number, then if you press the pay now button, it should work and it should create a receipt for you. One thing that is important to mention is that there's a icon here, like sort of warning. If you click on this warning, you see that sometimes if you're using, if you have directly downloaded OpinionBricks from Google Play or App Store, then you may actually get this error when you're running, when you're actually entering your card number and try to make a payment. The reason that you get this error is because of some current restrictions that are imposed by the Google Play or App Store. We are trying to fix the bugs, but so in the future, versions of OpinionBricks, this issue will be sort of resolved. If you get this issue, if you get this error, in order to resolve this error, all you need to do is to make the payment through our web app version, which is the one that I'm currently working with. If you use the web app version, you will not get this error because the web app version is actually independent of the Google Play or App Store. Okay, so I can provide my card information here and make the payment. So I'm gonna stop the video now and provide my card number and see what happens. Okay. So I made the payment here, for example, just for the sake of illustration. You can see that after making the payment, I was able to get the receipt for my payment. And it is expected that the participant receive $100 from this total payment of $110.68. So now you can go back and there is no more applicants to approve. So you can go back. And then once you go back, you can actually see that if you look at your project now, there are no more applicants or new submission. And you can actually look at this sort of finalized applicants. And if you look at the finalized applicant, you can see that we actually confirm one applicant, and this applicant answered question number 1 and has provided the value of 4 for that. If you would have submitted any image or video, you should be able to see it in this part. If you like, you can provide a feedback to the applicant and say that, okay, for example, great job. So I provide a feedback. If you look at, if you want to look at the eligibility conditions of this applicant, you can actually click on this eligibility button and you should be able to see that. If you want to look at the receipt again, all you need to do is to basically look at this this icon here, and that will bring you the receipt for the payment that you made to this applicant. Okay. In this eligibility conditions, it's currently empty because remember that we reapplied for the same project. And when I was doing when I was reapplying for this project, I didn't provide any information. So that's why this part is now empty. If the applicant provides information, then it's actually going to be shown in this section with the image or the supporting video that he or she has provided. Okay, this sort of button here is actually helping you to download the answer, those answers of the applicants that you prefer to be downloaded. If you turn it off, then if you download the answers, this will not be shown in the CSV file that you're gonna download. Okay, how do you download your CSV file? It's very simple. All you need to do is to press the export data. If you press the export data, it will actually put together all those pieces of information that you have provided. So all those answers of the applicants that are here in this section will be combined together and then will be sent to your email as a CSV file. Okay, now what are you going to see in that CSV file is going to be these pieces of information. You're going to see the explanation provided by the applicant for the task. So for example, in this case, we only had one task, and that was task number 1. And the explanation that applicant was provided was 4. So that means that he selected choice number 4 for the task number 1. If he or she would have provided any YouTube URL or would have uploaded any image, then you could see the YouTube URL or the sort of image URL corresponding to this answer, and you could just download the image or the YouTube video by just going to that address and try to download it if you need it. Here's the name of the applicant, and here's the email address of the applicant, and here's the family name of the applicant. So these pieces of information would be provided for every single answer and every single applicant that you actually finalized in the system. If you have finalized 100 applicants and each of them has, let's say, 10 answers, then you see a file with 1,000 rows in your email. So one thing that is really important to note that is that you cannot download the eligibility conditions. If you want to download the eligibility conditions, you need to create it as a task. So you can create a task on your project and ask the participant to enter their eligibility information that they used to apply for your project in that task. So in that case, once you download the CSV file, you can actually see the eligibility condition as well, because that's one of the tasks of the project. Okay, so let's go back to the participant role. Okay, so if you go back here, you can see that now the California project or application that we had is actually changed, and its status is changed to approved and payment completed. So this $S sign shows that the payment is completed, and this sort of message icon shows that you have a message from the provider, and the provider has told you that that was a great job. Okay, thank you very much for listening to and watching this YouTube video. I hope this helps you to work with OpinionBricks more conveniently.